Job 39. Do you know the time when mountain goats give birth, or have you seen deer when they give birth? Will you count the months that pass, or do you know the time of your birth? When they bow down, they produce their children, and cast away their pains. Your children become strong, they grow with the wheat, they leave, and never return to them again. Who released the wild ass free, and who released the wild ass from prison? To whom I gave the wilderness for a home, and the salt land for a dwelling? Laugh at the noise of the city, he doesn't hear the driver's many screams. The mountainous region is his pasture, and he seeks out everything that is green. Or, will he want to serve you the wild ox? Or will it stay in your corral? Or will you tie the wild ox to the plow with rope? Or will he dig the valleys after you? Or will you trust him, because his strength is great? Or will you leave your work to him? Or will you trust him to return to you what you sowed and gather it on your threshing floor? The ostrich beats its wings happily, but are its wings and feathers benign? She leaves her eggs in the earth, and warms them in the dust. And she forgets that some foot can trample them, or that the animals of the field can trample them. She hardens herself towards her children, as if they were not hers. It's her job in vain, but she is without fear. For God deprived her of wisdom, and gave her no understanding. In times she rises high, he laughs at the horse, and at the person riding it. Or will you give strength to the horse, or clothe its neck with manes? Or will you scare him away, like a grasshopper? Terrible is the fiery breath of her breath. He digs up the earth, and relaxes his strength, and goes out to meet the armed men. She laughs at fear, and is not frightened, and does not turn back because of the sword. Against him the quiver rattles, the flaming iron of the spear and javelin. Agitating and indignant, she serves the land, and ignores the sound of the horn. When the horns sound he says, "Hey!" And it smells of war from afar, and the thunder of captains, and the noise. Or does the hawk fly by your intelligence, and spread its wings towards the south? Or does the eagle return to your command and set its nest high? In the rocks he lives and dwells, on the tops of the rocks, and in the safe places. From there he discovers the prey, his eyes see her from afar. And her children suck the blood, and where there are dead, there she is. Job 40. And the Lord answered Job, saying, Is contending against the Almighty wisdom? Whoever argues like this to God must answer for it. Then Job answered the Lord, saying, Behold, I am vile, what would I answer? I put my hand over my mouth. Once I have spoken, and I will not reply, or even twice, but I will not continue. Then the Lord answered Job out of a whirlwind, saying, Now gird up your loins like a man, I will ask you, and you will explain to me. Will you also make my judgment vain, or will you condemn me to justify yourself? Or do you have an arm like God, or can you thunder with a voice like he does? Adorn yourself, therefore, with excellence and highness, and clothe yourself with majesty and glory. Pour out the fierceness of your anger, and look at everyone who is proud, and bring them down. He looks upon everyone who is proud, and humbles him, and tramples down the wicked in his place. He hides them together in the dust, bind their faces in secret. Then I also will confess to you that your right hand can save you. Now behold the behemoth, which I made with you, which eats grass like an ox. Behold, his strength is in his loins, and his power in the muscles of his belly. When he wants, he moves his tail like a cedar, the nerves of your thighs are intertwined. Their bones are like bronze tubes, its bones are like iron bars. He is a masterpiece of God's ways, the one who made it provided him with his sword. In truth, the mountains provide pasture for it, where all the animals of the field play. He lies down under the shady trees, in the hiding place of the reeds and the mud. The shady trees cover him with their shadow, the willows of the brook surround it. Behold, a river overflows, and he does not hurry, trusting even that the Jordan will rise up to his mouth. Could they perhaps hunt him in front of his eyes, or pierce his nose with lassos? Job 41. Can you take the Leviathan out with a hook, or will you bind its tongue with a rope? Can you put a hook in its nose, or pierce its jaw with a hook? Will he multiply his supplications toward you, or will he speak softly? Will he make a covenant with you, or will you take him as your servant forever? Will you play with it as if it were a bird, or will you keep it for your girls? Will your companions make a feast of it, or will they share it among the traders? Will you fill his skin with hooks, or his head with fishermen's harpoons? Lay your hand on him, remember the battle, and you will never do so again. Behold, the hope of catching him is vain, for will not a man be overthrown just by seeing him? There is no one so bold that he dares to awaken him. Who then is he that dares to stand before me? Who gave it to me first, so that I can repay him? For what is under all the heavens is mine. I will not be silent about his limbs, nor his great strength, nor the grace of his composure. Who will discover the face of your clothes? Who will enter your folded breastplate? Who will open the doors of your face? For around his teeth is terror. Its strong scales are its pride, each one closed as if with a tight seal. They get so close to each other that not even the air passes between them. They connect to each other, they adhere so much to each other that they cannot be separated. Each of his sneezes makes the light shine, and his eyes are like the eyelids of the dawn. Torches come out of his mouth, sparks of fire jump from it. From his nostrils comes smoke, as from a boiling pot, or from a large boiler. Your breath sets the coals on fire, and a flame comes out of his mouth. In your neck lies strength, before him even sadness leaps with pleasure. The muscles of his flesh are stuck together, each one stands firm in it, and none moves. His heart is firm as a stone and firm as the millstone below. When he rises, the mighty tremble, because of their shocks they purify themselves. If someone touches you with a sword, it cannot penetrate, nor a spear, javelin or arrow. He regards iron as chaff, and covers it as rotten wood. The arrow will not make him flee, the stones in his slings become stubble. The thrown stones are like edges to him, and he laughs at the brandishing of the spear. Underneath it is pointed shells, it stretches over sharp things like mud. The depths boil, like a pot, makes the sea like a jar of ointment. After him he leaves a luminous path, it looks like the abyss turned into the whiteness of gray hairs. There is nothing on earth that can compare to it, as it was made to be without fear. He sees everything that is high, he is king over all the children of pride. Job 42. Then Job answered the Lord, saying, I know well that you can do anything, and that none of your purposes can be prevented. Who is this, who without knowledge conceals counsel? That's why I reported what I didn't understand, things that were inscrutable to me, and that I didn't understand. Listen to me, then, and I will speak, I will ask you, and you will teach me. I have heard with the hearing of my ears, but now my eyes see you. Therefore I abhor myself and repent in dust and ashes. It came to pass, when the Lord had finished speaking these words to Job, that the Lord said to Eliphaz the Temanite, My anger is kindled against you, and against your 2 friends, because you did not speak of me what was right, as mine servant Job. Therefore take 7 bulls and 7 rams, and go to my servant Job, and offer burnt offerings for yourselves, and my servant Job will pray for you, for I will indeed accept him, lest I deal with you according to your folly, for ye have not spoken of me that which was right, as my servant Job did. Then went Eliphaz the Temanite, and Bildad the Shuhite, and Zophar the Naamathite, and did as the Lord had told them, and the Lord accepted the face of Job. And the Lord turned the captivity of Job, when he prayed for his friends, and the Lord added double to all that Job had before. Then came to him all his brothers, and all his sisters, and all who had known him before, and ate bread with him in his house, and commiserated with him, and comforted him concerning all the evil which the Lord had sent upon him. And each of them gave him a piece of money, and a gold pendant. And so the Lord blessed the last state of Job more than the first, for he had 14,000 sheep, and 6,000 camels, and 1,000 yoke of oxen, and 1,000 she-asses. He also had 7 sons and 3 daughters. And he called the name of the first Jemimah, and the name of the second Keziah, and the name of the third Kerenapuk. And in all the land there were no women found as beautiful as Job's daughters, and their father gave them an inheritance among their brothers. And after this Job lived 140 years, and he saw his children, and his children's children, to the 4th generation. Then Job died, old and full of days. Thank you for watching this video. Please subscribe to our channel, leave a like, and make a comment.